Hello everyone. You all are welcome to my channel. Have you ever wondered how our ancestors kept their food fresh for longer time? Do you have any idea? It might surprise you to know that ancient civilizations had some pretty clever ways of preserving their food. Well, in this video, we are going to explore some of these amazing traditional food preservation techniques that were used all around the world in order to keep their food safe and delicious for months, even years. Without further delay, let's start. First up, let's talk honey. Honey isn't just delicious, it's also a powerful natural preservative. Ancient civilizations like the Egyptians and Greeks used honey to preserve fruits and nuts, keeping them from spoiling for long periods. For example, in ancient Greece, quince was mixed with honey, dried somewhat, and packed tightly into jars to keep it fresh. The Romans later improved on this method by cooking the quince with honey, creating a solid, jam-like texture that could be stored for even longer. But did you know that some indigenous peoples, like those in Sri Lanka, even used honey to store meat? They immersed meat in vats of bee honey to prolong their shelf life. How does this work? Well, honey is a hypertonic solution as honey contain a lot of sugar and very little water, which creates a dry environment. This difference causes water inside the food like fruits, vegetables or meat to naturally move out into the honey, a process known as osmotic dehydration. Without much water left in the food, bacteria and other microbes can't grow, so the food doesn't spoil as quickly. Plus, honey has natural antibacterial properties, making it an even more effective preservative. Next we look at one of oldest traditional food preservation method. It is sun drying. We know sun is a free source of energy. Ancient cultures, like in Egypt and the Mediterranean, would lay out fruits, vegetables, or fish in the sun to dry. In sun drying food is exposing to the sunlight. It will remove the moisture within the food due to sun heat and action of wind. As it reduces the free water available for action of spoilage microbes, it will increase their shelf life. Well, salting is another traditional food preservation method. Interesting fact is Roman soldiers received salarium or salt as their payment, which lead to the origin of today's term salary. So we can understand how salting is important in Romans' life. Salt has been a precious commodity throughout history, and not just for seasoning. Its ability to draw out moisture made it one of the most effective preservatives. By salting meat or fish, ancient people could prevent bacterial growth, allowing them to store protein-rich foods for a long period. Let's move on to smoking. This method was used to preserve meat and fish. Did you know that smoking meat goes all the way back to the time of the cavemen? It's believed that early humans would hang their meat to dry inside their homes, and they accidentally discovered that the smoke from a nearby fire did something amazing. Not only did it give the meat a delicious, smoky flavor, but it also helped to preserve it. The smoke slowed down the growth of bacteria and kept insects away, making the meat last longer. So, what started as an accidental discovery became a tried and true method for keeping food fresh. Now, let's dive into pickling, a method that's been around for thousands of years. It all started way back in 2400 BC in the ancient Tigris Valley, where the Mesopotamians discovered that soaking food in salty, acidic brine could preserve it. But they didn't just find a way to make their food last longer. They also found that it made the food taste even better. Pickling was a practical solution for keeping fruits, vegetables, and even meats fresh long after the harvest by lowering pH value. But it wasn't just about preservation. Pickling added a delicious tangy flavor that made meals more exciting, allowing people to enjoy a variety of foods all year round. Next, we move into fermentation. Fermentation is a marvel of nature, transforming simple ingredients into complex, flavorful, and preserved foods. By harnessing the power of natural bacteria, ancient cultures could convert sugars into alcohol or acids, creating environments where harmful bacteria couldn't thrive. From the tangy kimchi of Korea to the sour sauerkraut of Europe, and the creamy yogurt of Central Asia, fermentation not only preserved food but also added valuable nutrients, making it a staple in diets worldwide. Well, the next method is freezing. Did you know freezing has been used to preserve food for centuries in cold climates? Before we had refrigerators, people relied on nature's freezer, burying food in snow or underground to keep it fresh all winter long. This led to the creation of ice houses, where ice was stored after being harvested from lakes and rivers. Ice houses kept food cool during the warmer months. Ice boxes were the next step, smaller, insulated boxes that used blocks of ice to keep food chilled. These methods worked well until the 1800s, when artificial refrigeration was invented, changing food preservation forever. The principle of preservation through freezing relies on the fact that extremely low temperatures slow down or stop the growth of bacteria, yeast, and molds, which are responsible for food spoilage. Freezing also slows down the enzyme activity that causes food to ripen and eventually spoil. Well, I think up to now you may have a good idea about traditional methods of food preservation. Today we talked about 7 methods including dipping in honey, sun-drying, salting, smoking, pickling, fermentation, and freezing. Hope you all enjoy the today video, and you may learn something out of it. So if you're willing to see more videos related to food science and technology, please like the video and subscribe to this channel. It will really be helpful to me to bring this kind of videos. Again, thank you for watching and we'll meet with another video.